All right, everybody. Welcome to tonight's webinar on membership regarding retention. I am Justin Lutsky, the National Membership Development Director. Again, with you guys this month. I really appreciate you taking your night off to come listen in. And webinars for me are a struggle a little bit just because I love to be more interactive. So definitely use the question tab to type in questions and let me know your thoughts and any input you have on what we talk about tonight. We're also, this presentation is going to be more just kind of a word-centric, image-based, and so I'm just going to discuss things that have to do with the slides that we go through. For retention, our objective tonight is to discuss chapter enhancements, activation retention tips, and then resources to help and support you from JCI USA. Regarding chapter enhancement, so with any chapter and any plan that we have in place for membership, you want to set goals in the beginning of the year and just work on those throughout the year and work on action items to achieve those goals. If when you do a membership plan in the beginning of the year, you're going to set your retention goal at 65 or 85%. And then if you have 100 members in your chapter and you have an 85% retention rate, that means you know that your goal is to retain 85 of your members. And as the membership person working with your board of directors, if you're new, you're going to work with them to find out and go through the roster and say, oh, what percentage of these members are most likely going to renew? And then, or how many would we like to renew above that, beyond the people we know, and then coming up with that number, and then coming up with a plan of action of how we're going to do that. And with that, you want to definitely come up with your 30, 60, 90-day plan so that you're communicating with all of your members 30, 60, 90 days out from their membership renewal. That 90 days is the first kind of touch base to say, hey, what are you doing? How's life going? How are you liking the Jaycees? Remind them, are you going to renew next year? And then the 60 days is to say, hey, your membership's going to come up in 60 days. Why don't we get you renewed? And then 30 days out is to say, hey, we really need to get you renewed. Why don't we get your money over and we can get you in the system as renewed, and we just really appreciate you as a member. Most of those conversations I really recommend being very personal, that personal touch point to see how they're doing personally, what they love about the chapter, what they don't love, kind of empowering them to come to the table and change the things they don't love to help the chapter as a whole become better. In the end, if you're experiencing a lot of turnover and a lot of current members leaving your chapter, there are things that you need to readjust about your chapter and to enhance, and that involves your programming and how your meetings are run and surveying the chapter. And we'll go through different activation and retention tips here next. And those all fall in the place of, I'll share information on how you can enhance your chapter if you seem to be struggling with your retention. So I have 30 activation and retention tips for you. One is to be active. You're gonna retain more members the more active members you have. And that just involves making sure that you're doing things in your chapter that appeals to the majority of the membership. And it doesn't mean that you find one thing that most everyone's gonna wanna do. It means that you make sure that through your board of directors with community, membership, and individual development, as well as management, that all of the surveying that you do and the communications and the conversations you're having with the members in your area as a vice president, you're finding out what the members' interests are and encouraging them to run projects in those areas, and that gets them active. And later I'll talk about it too, Passport to Civic Leadership. It's a great tool that we have through JCI USA to get to your 10th degree, and it's the members' roadmap to get to get involved and active, and you don't even really have to do anything then beyond show them the program and have them get online into their database and access it and start getting involved. I just you can make it fun and put up a board in your meeting space with a list of names of your chapter members down the left, and then 1 through 10 across the top, and make it fun, and uh, give them gold stars at meetings, or make it a fun horse race that people can bet for charity on, or whatever you want to do that's creative. Have fun with it. So it's just about being active and making sure that you're doing projects that make your members active. If you're running old projects that everyone's burdened with and they don't want to do it anymore, then stop doing that project. And if it's this milestone project that your chapter's done for 100 years, well, it's not an offense to start having conversations with other nonprofits in town to possibly hand that over so that the project still happens, but it's not a burden, it's not a project that your chapter has to do. I really encourage this. Start on day one. So from day one that a member joins, you want to get them active. You want to get them involved, and you do that by orientating them to the chapter and to the Jaycees. Having a new member orientation. I recommend doing one once a quarter where you get all of your new members that came in a quarter or two prior to come to a special meeting that's just about having an orientation, where you tell the members what your chapter is truly all about. These are the boundaries. This is what's expected of you. Get them all enrolled in Passport to Civic Leadership. Whatever you need to do to get them active, and you need to start on day one, because if you don't, you're more likely to lose them the more you let time go by, and you don't set boundaries, and you don't tell them what to do in the chapter, or you don't set them up with another member to connect, to understand things. And if you have a smaller chapter and you don't have time to run a big orientation meeting, just even having a board of directors go to lunch or coffee with that member soon after they join, so you can just say, hey, like, what are your interests? What are your passions? We have these projects throughout the year that we could really use support on and help, and it looks like you have this great skill set that we can bring you in on, and then that makes them feel valued. So again, start on day one. You know, today we're all, these days with social media and life moves so fast, maybe day one can't happen, but the soonest you can, within the first week or month that a member joins, to at least have someone sit down with them and get them enrolled in Passport. I know in my past at meetings, we had a member come like to 4 or 5 meetings, and they finally raised their hand and were like, I just joined, but I don't even know what I'm allowed to do or what I'm doing here. And I mean, honestly, our chapter was started and we were kind of just handed it, and we just started doing whatever, and we felt like we didn't know what we were doing for like a year or so. And so even members that have been around for 3 or 4 years that maybe haven't had an orientation or haven't experienced a state or national event, it's everyone in your whole chapter maybe needs to go through an orientation just to really grasp the full potential of what being a JC is. Shout outs. This is usually where our chaplain area falls in. You just want to make sure that the chaplain or a person designated on your board of directors knows when members' birthdays are, knows what they do for a living, if they get a promotion. Did they get laid off? Should we give them some assistance or ask them if they need help, just to let them know we're here for you, we're your family, we're your new network because you joined the Jaycees. Also, if they've lost a family member or a pet or something, we want to make sure we're offering condolences to make them feel like they belong to part of a group, and that adds value to be part of the Jaycees. And we can't keep a track of everyone's life and what they're doing, but we can at least try. And you'll be amazed at what makes a difference if each of our members get some sort of recognition once throughout a year. But the more we have people in charge of these areas, the more likely we're able to keep on top of that and find out when members' important milestones are noticed, so that we can recognize that. Next is member spotlights, and so that's through social media or the newspaper when they join. I know that our local newspaper, you can submit people that get new jobs, and so this would, and you do it, they post it for free in the newspaper. It's just a fun section where they highlight great recognition, and so you can do it in print or online digitally, but putting up a picture of your new members on social media and tagging them and sharing a little bit of their story with a nice biography. And if you don't feel like writing a biography, even just asking them, like, here's what we asked our new member, here's what we asked our members with these three questions, and then write up their answers to those questions and uh, tag them on Facebook and really celebrate the great accomplishments these members are making in the chapter. And that's not just new members too, it's senior members and experienced members that are, we're all doing great things every year as we're involved in the Jaycees, and even someone who's been a Jaycee for 10 years, it would feel really special to be tagged on Facebook with a fun profile, or this person ran 2 projects this quarter, and we just want to celebrate them for the great impact they're making. It just really makes it special for that member, and they're more likely to stay in the chapter. Chapter newsletter, social media. Again, this is where you would highlight members. One way of you might not be retaining members is because you're not getting information out to our members. You're not sharing the minutes from the meetings. You're just not posting anything on social media to get in the member's face. It's just the fact that information doesn't come easily to people, and so the more that you set in practice and standard of having your social media presence. If you have a Facebook page, that means that's a public page, so it's to the whole community and your members, but just putting out all the great things you're doing and the events coming up and the meetings happening. And then, I recommend you can have a more of a private social group for just your members, and that's where you can really put out good information that's just directed to them. You can also do a newsletter that's emailed out to everybody or posted on social media as well. And then I know that, our chapter uses MailChimp, and we do a weekly email on every Monday, and we really set boundaries about that, because in the past we've had board members kind of hijack the email list and send out emails 3 times a week, and we get into big discussions and everyone's copied and CC'd on it, and it's just a big mess. And then people, because there's so many communications, the members get overwhelmed and they kind of pull back, and they just don't want to be part of that. So setting kind of boundaries in place of how often we're going to communicate to our members, and just making sure that it's consistent and worthwhile, that's going to be your best bet on retention. Does anyone have any questions so far? Please feel free to ask a question at any time, and I'll be able to read it and answer it. But again, with communications, as long as your team has come up with boundaries and a plan, and it's going to be consistent and credible and have decent information, that's going to be your best bet. And nowadays, just the way that social media and the internet has taught us how to learn, the more quicker and concise that information can be, the better. Most members aren't going to sit down and read a page-long article or a page-long description of the upcoming event. They just want to know, like, a highlight sentence or two of what's going to happen at this event, when is it, where is it, what time is it. Then they know if they can go or not, and then they're going to go and they're going to experience it. And the Jaycees is all about having experiences, so the more we get it to them direct to the point, the more likely they're going to show up, and we're going to retain them. We want to call them. I think for a few years there, we got so into our text messaging and emailing that we kind of forgot about the whole calling people, and it's such a personal touch now because it's been lost for such a long time. But it's amazing what even just leaving someone a voicemail to show that you care, and hey, where have you been? We missed you at the meeting, or we missed you at the last few events. Just physically calling them will make that much more of an impact to show that we value you and we want you to be in our group. And just taking that time to have the personal conversation with the member to find out what they're doing in their life, where they've been, maybe why they pulled back from the organization. That's going to make the biggest difference. Accountability. I talk about this too. I feel like a lot of members will sign up for a lot of things or even just sign up for stuff, and then life happens and they get overwhelmed and they're embarrassed for signing up, and so they just ghost and they leave and they don't tell anybody. And that's the worst thing that we can do as leaders, by leading by example, and then just as members. There's nothing wrong with coming back to the table and talking to a board member or your chapter president and saying, hey, you know what, I was really eager and I signed up for this, but the fact is I don't have time for it. And so to do justice for the members in the project, I need to hand it off. And it's simply easy as that. And you're going to be so respected, and it's so amazing to respect all the other members' time and everything by doing that. And that's a crazy amazing skill set to learn and take on and bring to the table throughout your entire life, to your family, to your friends, to your work. Just not letting pride take over, and just being responsible and honest and saying, hey, I can't do that. It's life. We have so much on our plates. It's understandable. But I know that a lot of members sometimes fall into that kind of category. And this is Jaycees is a place to live and learn, and I've done that in the past, so we're all guilty of it. But as long as we just hold ourselves accountable and hold our members accountable, I realize there's a misspelling there. It says accountability. It's accountability. Sorry. So I just really recommend holding our fellow peers accountable. If we don't, what's horrible is that we'll have a member do that and they don't follow through and they just disappear. And then we have 3 other members who are gossiping and complaining about that member that didn't do it and didn't follow through. What we should be doing is contacting the people we have issues with and talking to them and saying, hey, this is what happened and we just feel like it could have been handled better. This is a learning experience. So I hope that you'd be open to my input and advice on the situation so that we can be better the next time. Again, the Jaycees as a leadership development opportunity and or an organization, if we don't talk to each other and help each other learn and grow, there's no point to being part of this organization. Because if we're just going to complain about one another and bitch and gossip, it's just going to take the whole chapter down. So we'll get into drama later, but some of this is as simple as this is just someone not feeling capable enough of owning up to signing up for too many things, or not knowing what they're doing and not asking questions. But it's okay to go to them and say, hey, like, it's okay to feel like you failed. It's okay. You're going to learn from it and we're going to get better, and we're going to find someone to help you, or this person actually could take this project on from you, so don't worry about it. Please help out if you can. Does anyone have any thoughts on accountability? Okay. Please ask still. It doesn't matter when you ask a question, I'll answer it. Next is, great points. Absolutely. Agree. Perfect. So, thank you, Miranda. Next is making an impact. So I believe that making an impact is definitely important in our organization. It's we make projects that make an impact in our community, but we also make an impact in each other's lives as peers in the Jaycees. So remember, when you're interacting with your members, you're always making an impact. We're always leading by example. And sometimes leading by example means it's a negative thing, because if I work for someone that's always late or flaky, then I might start to tend to be that way, and that person's leading by example in a negative way. But you always want to try to lead by example in a positive way. But if you kind of remember that we're always leading by example as Jaycees, it might kind of put that fire under you to continue to make, holding yourself accountable to being your best. And if we all come to the table trying to be our best, things are going to be amazing in this organization. Things are going to be amazing in your chapter. But Members join because they want to make an impact. So make sure you're having those conversations with them to find out what kind of impact do you want to make? What do you want to be involved in? And this is, if once you find out what they want to do, then you can show them how to apply it in the chapter and what things they could get involved in that already exist, or encourage them to start something new. And the more that they feel valued and the more that they bring to the table to the chapter, the more likely they're going to stay in the organization. Member-only benefits. Later, I'll talk about benefits for JCIUS as a national organization, but that is not to stop you as a local chapter to go out and build relationships with restaurants and businesses in your own town to support local people and local entrepreneurs. But go out and build relationships and find out, hey, like at this local restaurant, maybe we can get our members a, a buy one get one food item or a discount. They can have a card if they show their JC that they're a JC. They can get a discount at the restaurant or some sort of coupon or deal. Maybe there's clubs in town or gyms or I'm trying to think of just like different activity places to go to, bowling alleys. Just have someone in your chapter as a business VP go out and build relationships with other groups and organizations and get offers for your members. Businesses love to have customers, and so they love creating offers to bring more and more people to their business. So remember, like, member-only benefits do not just have to apply to internet, yeah, and they love groups. So you don't have to rely on JCI USA to offer car rental discounts and hotel discounts, which we do, but you could do it locally as well. And it's such a great way to get our name out and your name out as a chapter and build that skill set, which then you can take to your job, that you know how to have great conversations with these businesses. And honestly, start small. If you're intimidated by it, just go to a local pizza joint and say, hey, I'm part of the Jaycees group. We meet once a month. I was wondering if you could offer us a deal. We're a nonprofit. We do things for the community. Maybe I'd love to see if you guys had any way of offering a discount on your pizza, because I'd like to feed our members when they come to our meetings on Tuesday nights. It's as easy as that. You just got to ask and start the conversation. I know that I've gone out too and asked for items from donations from businesses, because we have raffles and different opportunities like that to win prizes. And in an hour, I went out in my downtown, and just by asking, I collected $400 in merchandise. And I didn't even plan. I saw that my deadline was coming up and I had forgot about it. And I just went out at lunch and just started asking people about it and telling them, and they just handed me stuff. So ask. That's one of the next slides. Ask. All you have to do is ask. It's the same thing with members and their renewals. Just ask them and have that conversation. Ask them, what are they getting out of the Jaycees? What are they not getting out of the Jaycees? These are conversations that we have to have with one another in order to grow and to be successful. Any thoughts so far? Miranda? Yes, ask. Worst they can do is say no. Exactly. Like, the worst scenario is they say no, I don't want to have this conversation, or I don't want to do this. That's the worst. Then you move on. That's all. And the more you ask, the more likely times you're going to have a positive response. So practice this in your personal life and your professional life, just asking. This point needs to be driven home. Don't be afraid to ask. Working on so many late renewals right now. Oh my gosh, that's the wolf pack from Michigan. Yeah, like this late renewals coming in at the last minute. You know, I've done a lot of trainings lately with other leaders in the Jaycees, and really with our quarter, it would be great if we could train our membership vice presidents to be overseeing the chapter, you know, members and doing the 30, 60, 90-day thing. But if you could, like, make sure that you're contacting everyone on the first week of the first quarter for that deadline and say, hey, we need your payment by the end of the second month. And then if you got everyone in and they're paid by the second month, then you can focus your whole third month of the quarter on getting new members in case your retention level was lower or higher than you realized. Then you can have time to focus on that, or even just figuring out ways to develop programming instead of, busting your butt on chasing people down on their money. And if it's just, even if it's a boundary that's set place in your bylaws or your policies at your local chapter, that members just know that they have to pay by the second month of their quarter that they're doing. Whatever you need to do, it's your world, it's your chapter. Make the rules up so that people need to live by some sort of path and some sort of structure and organization. And especially when they've joined this chapter and this organization and they're paying for it. Uh, oh my gosh. I like this utopia you speak of. I will be pushing for that. Yes, I really wish we had that utopia where everyone just paid and did as they said. I keep trying to get my own chapter to switch over to once a year payment so that we all know on March 1st, every year your membership's due. And there's going to be a transition year where we have to figure that out and also figure out potential prorated things. But I've also come up with a concept that our chapter would have an initiation fee and a first year membership fee. And we would, if you were due in, or if you joined us in September, October, we would waive one of those fees, and you just pay the initiation fee or the 1 year renewal, and then March 1st would be your second year payment. And I know that sometimes we struggle with members that can't afford the $50 or whatever your chapter payment is for a dues. However, if you make the Jaycees a priority in these members' lives, they will pay for it, because a lot of people's priority is going out to the bar on a weekend and they spend $50 in drinks and boozing up. And so, and it's Jaycees should be the priority, honestly, to better their lives, get promotions and better job, and have more money to spend on free time and having fun. Popcorn incentives worked for us this year. Our movie theater gives free popcorn tickets, and popcorn is the most expensive part of movies here. That's awesome. Like, exactly, like approaching a business like a movie theater and seeing, hey, like, we're a larger group in the community. How can we get a discount through you guys, whether that's on your concessions or to your movies? And maybe they even give you, like, we'll sell you movie tickets, for 25% off of the retail price that most people pay, because we know that you're going to bring more people to us to watch movies because you're part of an organization of 20 plus people in our community. So again, just ask. Then make it easy. We live in an amazing time with the internet and digital access to everything. If your chapter is not on PayPal, you need to get an account. It's free. And then you can, if you just have a Facebook page or if you have an awesome website, you can put a button or a link to the PayPal that gets people to go, and that's just the button where they can go renew their membership. And on PayPal, it's pretty easy. You just set it up, and you I know that some people think, oh, like, well, then people can pay with credit cards, but you would also set it up so that because they're paying online, they will pay the 2 to 5%, I can't even think of the word, the 2 to 5% convenience fee that you have to pay to make online payments. Yes, the fee. Thank you so much. Pay that fee so that your chapter isn't taking that on. That you just set it in the stand when the member's going to pay. It just says, oh, if you're going to pay online, you're going to pay an extra dollar or extra $2.50 on your membership just for using it online. If you don't want to pay this, just bring a check or cash to our next membership meeting. Again, just make it easy. I love being able to pay online and with a credit card because it's so much easier. I don't have to think about it. And then, obviously that falls into a credit card world, and that's a different beast when people aren't good with finances and budgeting. But in the end, it's the easiest way to pay for your membership, and you really don't have to pay it right then. You can pay it off over time. So I just really recommend making it easy, getting the members the easiest way to find out how to renew and get involved. Tap into their talents. So I feel like if our board of directors and the different overseeing the different areas of community, individual development, membership and management, and chaplain are constantly kind of having conversations throughout the year with all of the members so that all the members are talked to and are engaged with, we find out what the members want and what they want to do. We also are able to find out what the members their jobs are, what their talents are, what they went to college for, what they loved in high school, what they do for fun as a hobby, what they are amazing at, what they aren't great at. And then we start asking the people with the amazing hobbies and skill sets to say, hey, like, why don't you you're amazing at PowerPoint. Why don't you come in and do a presentation to show us how to use PowerPoint? Or you work in an HR office. Would you come teach our group how to do resumes? Or you work in the financial planning industry. Will you come do a talk on why it's important to plan for the future and for 401k and IRAs and Roths and uh, investing in the stock market? We all come from different backgrounds and different skill sets, and we're part of this group so that we can all learn from each other and become better than we were before we joined. So tap into the members' talents. Once you have those conversations and they come to the table and they teach that, they're going to have other members come up to them and thank them so much for teaching them that skill set and taking the time to teach them. And then that's going to give that member value, and they're going to renew because they want to be involved, because they want to learn from other members as well. Any thoughts on tapping into their talents? Okay. Invite them. So make sure you're inviting your members to things and to meetings and to socials and events, and have your board of directors be if most chapters are about 20 to 30 people, or 20 to 40 people. If you have 5 to 6 board of directors members and you divide that by 40 people, that's only 5 or 6 people to call each person. And you don't have to call them every meeting, but even just like once a quarter, dropping a line and inviting them to something, make them feel wanted, make them feel like they joined something because they're part of something. So just make sure you're inviting the members, and don't just do it like by clicking a button on social media and Facebook and say, oh, you're invited. Like, that's very impersonal and it's super easy. And so take that next step and message them, text them, call them. In the end, calling is going to be the best, but if you don't have time to call, at least send a Facebook message or a text message or an email, something. And don't just do don't I mean, of course, like, put out the invite through a big email that goes out to all 40 members, but send out individual emails to our members saying, hey, Jill, we'd love you to come to the pool social. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to have a barbecue, and you can bring your kids, and it's going to be a great time. So make it personal, connect with the fellow members, involve them. Again, like, with the events and activities are happening, if we're having conversations with members and we know what their interests are, you can involve them and say, if we have a member that they're OCD and they love to organize things, and they have binders that are all color coordinated, maybe you need to tell them that they need to get involved in one of your big projects, because over the years it's gone really disorganized and we need someone to go in there and rein it back in. Your type A members that join, they need to be connected to that. And a lot of type A people are probably just going to get involved anyways because they want to change things and control it for the better. However, it's those quiet people that you're going to want to contact and get them involved and have them bring something to the next meeting. Say, hey, you know what? It'd be fun to have root beer floats at the next meeting. Would you go get root beer floats? Because we have a budget line of $100 for fun activities like that, and we'll reimburse you, but just bring it and bring your receipt. Okay, Miranda says, where do I find those? I need those in my life. What do you need in your life, Miranda? Let me know what you need because I don't know the reference unless it's a root beer float. A type A organized with, yeah. I don't like put it out on a Craigslist. I'm kidding. Uh, just uh, just the more people that you go out there and talk to, the more likely you're going to find type A people because everyone is a different type of person. And the more times we ask people to join, the more likely we're going to get one of those people to join your group. And root beer floats, yes, you like those as well. I hope it's a root beer float. Yes, that's so funny. Okay, any thoughts so far? Any thoughts on root beer floats or involving members? It's really up to all of us. I feel like sometimes just with the way society is with social media right now, we forget that personal touch and connecting with our fellow members. Um, Again, so surveying them. We want to survey our members. If at least once a year you want to survey them in the beginning of the year so your new board of directors gets to know the members. But you can do a community survey, you can do a member survey, you can do an individual development survey, you can do a hobby survey, you can do it all at once, you can do it on pen and paper, or you could do it on SurveyMonkey and distribute it digitally. Whatever you need to do to survey your members, just do it. Um, Maria says, how do you deal if they don't respond back? Okay, so you've contacted a member 2 or 3 times then, and they haven't responded. Is that kind of the scenario? Yes. Uh, Honestly, people are people and they're going to have their priorities. If over a 3-month period you've tried to connect with a member 2 or 3 times and they just are not responding, they're not going to renew. And maybe keep an Excel sheet of members that don't renew, but at some point we have to give up and let it be and know that something's come up. They have some sort of shame that they're dealing with that they don't want to deal with, and it might not even be about the Jaycees. They might be having something personal that they just need to shut down and not deal with people, and so that's why they're not replying, and they just don't want to deal with it. And so just let it go because the more you try to connect with them and contact them, the worse it's going to be. So, but what you did at least was ask them and you called them and you tried to connect with them. I mean, if you tried to email a message and haven't heard anything, just give them a call and leave a personal voicemail that just says, hey, I was just haven't heard from you and I'm really concerned and I just as a friend want to make sure you're okay. And if you still don't hear from them, it's time to give up. Don't renew them. They know who you are. They know who the Jaycees are. They got your really kind voicemail. They may come back. I've dealt with about 10 people, 10 members this week who they were part of the Jaycees a year or two ago, and now they've come back and said, hey, like my priorities were different, but now they've changed and I love you guys and I want to be involved. So if you're being your best, they're going to come back because they know that you're genuine and authentic. And so don't annoy them and don't be over the top. Just accept that they're probably not renewing and know that you need to find a different person, a new member to replace them. Does that sound good? I can answer any other questions if you give me the context too. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you, she says. So again, surveys. Surveys are just going to give you a lot of good information to find out what your members want. Ask in the survey, like list out the projects that you have done over the last few years and ask the members if they like them. Maybe they'll all say no, and then you'll know, oh wow, like no wonder we aren't retaining members because everyone is saying no, that they don't like the projects we do. Or maybe you'll find out that they love them, and then you can say, hey, like we notice you all love these projects. We're excited. We want to get more new blood into our committees and running the projects. We're going to have co-chairs. Whatever you need to do to bring in the excitement because you have now know exactly what the members like or dislike. Live the mission. Lately, I've been really pushing this too. The Jaycees create development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change. If your chapter is not creating development opportunities, empowering young people, or creating positive change, we're not doing it right. Also, as you're in the Jaycees and you react or exhibit behaviors that maybe you weren't proud of, run it through the mission. Did it, or if you're questioning a decision in the Jaycees, run it through the mission. Does it empower young people? Is it positive? Is it a development opportunity? Then if the answers are yes, then you should follow through with that decision or that reaction. If it doesn't fall in those areas, then do not proceed to behave that way or to act upon what you were going to do. We should always be living through our mission of creating development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change. So live the mission and have fun. Like, don't be so serious. Even if you're the president, have fun with it. This is our pretend world. You don't get to go mess up at your job. You get fired for real. But in the Jaycees, you get to mess up and you get to own up to it and you get to move forward being a better person because you learned from it and you did it with your family, that we're all Jaycees and we're here to help each other out. Don't hold people so accountable that, like, if they make a mistake, it's their head is on the table. No, like, that's not what Jaycees is. This is a place to say, oh gosh, dang it, like, we lost $500 on that project, or you didn't go, like, you misplaced $1,000, but then you found it. Oh, like, thank God, like, please, let's talk about, like, why this happened and how we can learn from it and be better. It's the Jaycees. This isn't your job. OMG, love that last statement. Love the mission. Love the opportunity. It's practice. Exactly. Like, and we're not going to get it right. Sometimes we're not going to be positive. Sometimes we're not going to. Sometimes we're not going to be positive. Sometimes we're not going to be empowering. Sometimes we're not going to be creating a development opportunity. But if we, after the fact, look at it and think, oh, well, how was that not empowering? How was that not positive? How was that not a development opportunity? Then we ourselves can even reflect and process that and move forward being better. I totally believe in reflection. Think about your behaviors and what you've done and where you want to be better and go after those goals and do it. Also, once you reflect and you realize maybe where you weren't so great and you weren't positive and maybe you were in front of a bunch of other members and they witnessed it or they were part of it, take your pride out of the picture and your ego and go talk to those members and say, hey, I did some reflection and I realized I wasn't the greatest person last week during that project. Can we sit down and talk about it? Because I want us to all move on and be better, and so that we can do projects better in the future. Owning up to our mistakes is one of the greatest things we can do, and it's humility and humbleness. It's coming up from a place of openness and being open to moving to better places for ourselves and the whole chapter. So that falls into stopping the drama. The drama will stop once we're all being our best selves and being willing to go have those conversations with our fellow peers to be better the next time. We all get to make mistakes. We're human beings. It's okay. So take that time to reflect and go have the conversations that need to be had with other people, because if you avoid those conversations, literally the conversation is going to be 5 minutes and we're all going to feel better because they know, like, oh, like, they owned up to their mistake. This is great. Let's move forward. We're gonna have so much fun next time, as opposed to letting things fester and people gossip and be upset at each other and be mad, and then no one wins. Your chapter will literally die if you allow drama to continue within your chapter and living and breathing in that negativity. So also, as a chapter leader, if you know there's drama going on, it's your job to have conversations with them. Julia Lil says, be like Elsa and let it go. I love this motto. Exactly. Let it go. Take a breath. Take a few seconds to count to 10. just move forward. And it's being an adult and being a professional to go to people and say, hey, I have an issue and I'd like to discuss it. Are you open to talking about it? And sometimes when people are held, like called out on their crap, they're going to be in a reactive mode. And it's okay when you're being called out on your crap to say, okay, like I want to have this conversation, but I'm not ready right now. We need to do it tomorrow, or we need to do it in a few days because I got other stuff going on and I want to be open and be my best self to you. And yeah, sometimes with that let it go phrase, that's almost like don't sweat the small stuff. Sometimes we as people, we'll let things build up and then the smallest things will just blow us out of proportion. And you have to really like take everything with a grain of salt and realize like, is this worth the mess and the drama that's being created? Better said than practice. Better said than practiced. Love that advice about taking some time before talking. Thank you for that. Exactly. There is nothing wrong with saying, hey, I need some time to process this, or hey, I do want to talk to you, but not right now. And I know a friend of mine recently, he had messaged me a meme of something that said there was this boyfriend that was going to break up with his girlfriend. And when he went to go start the conversation, she said, not today, Greg. And now they've been married for like 20 years. But I kind of loved it because, and I told my friend, I said, oh gosh, like whenever I'm getting too serious or overly upset about something, you should just say, not today, Greg. And it'll lighten my mood and make me realize that maybe it's not worth all of the drama and the emotion that I'm bringing to the table because I'm in that moment and really upset. But again, it's okay to say, I will talk about this, but I can't do it right now. Because the worst thing that you could do is have a conversation where you're super upset and reactive and haven't had time to think, and then to say things you regret and to make the situation worse. So both parties get a say in a conversation where you're coming to the table to be better. And as long as you're coming to the table to your fellow member with the genuine intention of love and respect and coming to a new higher level, there's no reason that the other person is going to take it too negatively unless they truly know that they're at fault and they don't want to deal it and they're not a mature person. And then at least you did your due justice to the situation to try to talk about it. But if the other person just isn't going to, then it's not going to happen. And then, at that moment, I would actually really recommend getting a mediator or a board member involved to, if that other person's going to be super dramatic and not willing to work together to make things better, then maybe right now is not the time for that person to be a JC member, because it's gonna put a poison into your chapter and cause a lot of issues. And so it's just, as a leader, you got to have those hard conversations, and that's where we learn conflict management and how to handle those situations in the real world amongst our family members and at work. Quality versus quantity. I say this a lot too. I want you guys to be intentional with recruiting members. I don't think you need to be out there telling our chapters to say, hey, just go recruit anybody, like go out to the bars, just demand that everyone join the Jaycees. No, like let's be intentional. What are some weaknesses in our chapter? Do we need better social media coverage? Do we need law advice? Do we need more trainings? Let's go after professionals in our community and ask them to join, because their expertise will enhance our chapter. And make it fun. Like if you tell your members, hey, this quarter we really want to recruit a graphic designer, we want to recruit someone that works at another nonprofit, and we want to recruit someone that works at a senior center. If that's your 3 goals and you tell your members to go out and look for that, they're more likely to find people and recruit them than if you just broadly ask your members just to recruit anybody and everybody. And it's having conversations with those potential members that's to find out if they're going to be a quality member. Also, if you have members saying they can't pay for their membership, and so your chapter is going to pay for them, make them fill out a 1-page form, or even write an essay as to why they want to be part of this organization, and if they put in the time and effort to write that, they're more likely gonna appreciate their membership being paid for. I've just seen it so many times where we pay for a member because they came to us and said they couldn't afford it, and we're like, well, we have money, we're gonna pay for you. Well, then they don't get involved and they don't join anyways, and now our chapter just wasted $50 on that person because we didn't even find out why they wanted to join. Miranda says, the hard part for us is we need them. How do we prove they need us if they have not been bitten by the JC bug? I mean, honestly, my biggest experiences as a graphic designer, when a graphic designer graduates college, or it's just even starting as a designer, maybe learning on their own, they need experience. And so the JCs is such a great, like, like a learning chamber or a work chamber, and I'm thinking of like a scientific chamber where you put things in and it creates something. That's where I would go to a graphic designer, say, hey, I think you should join this chapter because we need someone to help make flyers and put information together and brand us. And that would be a great portfolio piece for you to get a better job or to get a job in general in the first place. You'll also connect with other businesses and other nonprofits in town, and they're probably going to um, well, okay, well, so Terry says, Justin, I've written a recruitment spiel for my home chapter. If you'd like, I'd be happy to share it with you. If you think that would be awesome, Terry. I would love to see what your recruitment spiel is. And I like a 30-second kind of pitch to recruit people. I would love that. And if it's okay with you, I would publish it out to our members, but I am going to put your name on it that it came from you. Uh, and I'll share it in trainings too, and I'll also just share it to our membership leaders and anyone who wants it. You just reach out to me and I will share that. Please share it, and then for sure. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Terry. Again, quality versus quantity. Look through your members, like your membership. Maybe it's time to have some really hard conversations with some members to say with them, I don't know if you appreciate being a JC, or your behaviors and the things that you're doing are causing our members to leave and not want to be involved. We got to have those hard conversations to just end the drama, end the negativity, and make sure that we're falling in line with our mission. Thank you so much, Terry. I'm excited to see that that spiel that you're going to send. The next thing is being open to new ideas. This falls under my yes hat category. We got to start saying yes. We got to be open to what people are saying. And the fact is, yeah, we have a lot of members that don't follow through and have all these ideas and then don't do anything. Well, it's time to hold them accountable and to hand them a project management guide and say, that's an interesting idea. I would think you should run it through this. The fact is, if they are a flake and they're not going to do anything, then they're going to disempower themselves. It's not our job to disempower them. It's our job to empower them. So we should be handing them a project management guide and giving them the opportunity to shine. And you never know, they might shine and a week later come back to you and say, well, here's my project management guide I filled out. Would you go over it with me? Or, I mean, and when you hand it to them, I would suggest fill this out and come back and talk to me, or talk to one of the other board of director members about this project, because we'll be interested. It'll be interesting to see what you're able to come up with once you go through our JC process of the project management guide. And again, like the more we are open to ideas, the more positive and thriving our chapter could be. You know, maybe someone has an idea of how to enhance the project we've been doing for 60 years, maybe to make it new and unique, that's gonna make people excited who are younger, who want to be involved and do it, because they just realize that the members of our chapter are empowered to change things up and refresh our old ideas into new ones. Just being open in general is just a way to have good conversations and to learn about others, get to know each other, and then in the end we grow as individuals. Don't procrastinate. We are all guilty of procrastination. I mean, maybe there's some perfect people out there that don't procrastinate. I don't know them. Maybe I need to. So they could lead by example and inspire me to not procrastinate sometimes. But just practice doing things a few days earlier than you usually do, even if it's on a small little project or a small little task that you'd usually put off. Challenge yourself to not procrastinate on that. And the more practice you do, the more likely you'll fall into habits where we're not procrastinating. I know a ton of presidents, chapter leaders that they get the agenda out the day before the meeting or the day of the meeting. I'm sure you procrastinate in a lot of other areas if you do that. So why don't you just practice saying, all right, like 2 days before the meeting, I'm going to get the minutes, I'm going to get the agenda out. And then this month, I'm going to get the agenda out a week before the meeting. And just set goals and challenge yourself to achieve them. And it's going to take you places, and you're going to become a better person because of it. Get to know one another. This, again, falls under having conversations with one another. Just ask a fellow member, say, hey, like, I'm Justin. I'd love to get to know you. Want to go grab lunch? Want to go grab coffee sometime? I'd love to share with you my ideas with the Jaycees, and I'd love to hear what you like about the Jaycees. I feel like every time I've done that, I have gotten a brand new best friend. I don't know any Jaycee that I haven't sat down to lunch or to coffee, and they are now my lifelong best friend. And even when they moved away, we are still connected and talk. And whenever I go see them or go visit them or they come visit me, it's like no time passed. And it's simply by just sitting down for an hour and having a genuine, authentic conversation, getting to know one another, that's changed my life. And sometimes those conversations started because of the Passport to Civic Leadership told me I had to go do this one thing, and that involved me talking to a member. Just imagine if all of us in our chapters were once a quarter having coffee with a new member or a member we haven't talked to ever or met, or someone we just haven't connected with in a while. Imagine how strong our bonds would be just by taking that simple step of going to coffee, going to lunch, grabbing drinks, whatever the case. I like just swear by this because I have met some amazing people just by stepping out of my comfort zone and asking someone to go grab dinner or go grab coffee and having that conversation. I cannot implore doing this. Please, even I challenge each of you on this webinar tomorrow, contact a member that you would maybe be interested in getting to know, and just ask them to coffee or ask them to meet up to talk about Jaycees or talk about what they're doing in their life. And I guarantee it will change your life. Don't bait and switch. So as a chapter, don't tell people that the meeting is on the first Tuesday of the month, and then on Monday of that month say, oh, actually, it's going to be Wednesday now because you couldn't go. No. If you can't go, find someone else to take your place. Please, don't say that, come to this event because you're all going to get a free backpack or a free, you're going to get free food. And then when they get there, oh, actually, the food is $2. No, you will instantly lose credibility. Do not tell members one thing and then change it out later. We all make mistakes, and, it's okay. Maybe the food didn't come and so there's no food, and obviously then there's nothing you can do about it. But as long as you're genuine and honest, that's all you can do. And I feel like most people, though, that bait and switch are gonna well, there's no food, sorry, I gotta go, I'm gonna disappear because I don't want to deal with the conflict. Deal with the conflict, accept the consequences, and it's okay because we're Jaycees and we'll move forward and we'll be better because of it. But do your best to not bait and switch our members. Mentorship and mentors. I recently was in Iowa, and we had conversations about this, and we had chapters that said, well, we've tried the mentorship thing and no one wanted to do it, and it was confusing. And okay, well, no one wanted to do it. Did you ask them if they wanted to do it before you tried the program? And mentorship really is just talking to your senior members and saying, hey, I would really like it if this quarter you contacted another member and took them to coffee. Mentoring doesn't have to be this big, in-depth process of like, all right, we're going to sit down together once a week and go over this paperwork and do these things, these tasks. Mentoring is truly just building a relationship with another member and just showing them the ropes and making them feel valued and part of the group. So I think maybe when me and other leaders throw out this mentorship programming and mentor this and it's bigger than it's possibly being made into. So it's truly just having a focus, finding out which members would be open to in your organization to be mentors, and finding out which members in your group would like mentors and putting them together. Does anyone have any thoughts on mentorship programs in your chapters? Okay. Again, I kind of want to go back on mentorship. I know that my chapter, we had our first few years, we had 5 people doing everything, and then we did a mentorship thing, but it truly was casual. It was just each person that was super involved built a relationship with another member. Then the next year we had 10 active members. Then those 10 people built a relationship with 10 more members. The next year we had 20 active members. And so going from a 5% active percentage of our chapter to 50 to 60% active is amazing. And it's not going to happen overnight. It might take a few years. Miranda says, I love the mentorship idea. It's all that's kept us afloat in Mississippi. Well, exactly. Like, we all want a friend. We all want to feel valued. That's truly what mentoring is. It's just hanging out with somebody and and showing them the ropes. So I just highly recommend mentoring within your chapter. You can also do mentorships with senators and aged out members, as long as they're the type of aged out member that's very open and isn't gonna throw it in our face that we do it wrong and we're not like the old Jaycees. If it's someone that's very open and nurturing and kind and let us do what we need to do so that we can learn, because that's what the Jaycees is about. Empower and encourage. That's what mentoring is truly about. Having conversations with people, empowering them to be their best, and encouraging them to do the things they've talked about and to act on them and to bring their ideas to the table and do something with it, because we all have the capability of doing this. Mind your manners. Always respect and be polite. Just respect each other, and you are being respectful by holding your peers accountable for their behaviors. But be kind and respectful about it when you're doing it. Don't yell at them. Don't make them feel like pieces of crap. Just have open, honest, positive conversations to help us all move forward. And know their why. So that's, again, when we're having conversations with our fellow members, we're going to find out what gets them up in the morning, what they love about life, what they love in the community, and then we can show them and tell them and explain how, oh, well, you could do this in the Jaycees because the Jaycees offers this opportunity, and you're totally going to live out your passion and your why through the Jaycees. And there really isn't a why that can't be lived out through the Jaycees, because we're so broad and have so many opportunities that anybody's why could pretty much be lived out through the Jaycees. There's some connection there. Plan ahead and share. So again, making sure that you as a board of directors and your membership is planning ahead and not just doing things on the fly and meeting in different places, meeting at different times. No one's going to be able to follow you. No one's going to be able to know where the next step is going to be. So you have to put rules and boundaries in place and be consistent, because you need your credibility so that your members will want to be part of your organization. Respect their time. That's the same thing. Like, a member is going to set aside time to come to a meeting, but if you change the meeting at the last minute, you just lost them. Or if they came to a committee meeting and then it didn't happen or no one showed, we just disrespected our members' time. So always just be aware of being our best self and holding each other accountable and doing what we can to follow through. And, if something's not going to happen, call the member and let them know so that they don't go out of their way to show up to the meeting that's not happening. Again, the bait and switch. Recognition, recognize them. So when people do good things, give them kudos. Call them and thank them so much for their hard work. Email them, whatever you need to do when they're at the meeting. When you see them out in town, say, hey, well, you did really great work on that project. Thank you so much. So it's amazing what recognition will do to get people on their feet and back in back in the seats at the meeting and at the committee meetings and doing projects. Recognize them. Thank them. Again, like, recognition is thanks. So I don't know, like, I just naturally thank people all the time because I'm just so thankful that they're in my life or that they did that project because I didn't have to do it. Or people do such great things, or it's just always, if you focus on being grateful for the things we have in life, the more likely you're going to draw positivity and people wanting to be around you and being part of your chapter, because everyone's so grateful and it's so positive and it's awesome to be around here. People will feel very worthless if they're never thanked for the things that they do. So those are my 30 tips for activation or for activating and retaining members. A few JCI resources. We do have some sheets that talk about the benefits of membership. I know that sometimes our benefits seem non-tangible. So as a member, and these are what just in general, as a member of JCI, does we have a chance? Do you have sample letters to send to potential members? Yeah, I can put a letter. So someone asked if I had sample letters to send to potential members. Is that like a letter to renew? Let me know what type of letters you mean. But again, for benefits of membership, access to professional tools and guides, the project management guide, access to our training series, the JCI trainings and other trainings that JCI USA member leaders give, the active citizenship framework and civic engagement, genuine, and I always switch community service to civic engagement. It just kind of falls more in line with, you're not a prisoner doing community service, you're getting engaged in your community civically. Genuine connections within your community and across the world, friendships galore, skill development, leadership by getting involved at your chapter, state, national, international level, advocacy, learning to fight for your causes and what you want as a citizen, mentorship, project management, time management, team management, budgeting, partnership development, multitasking, marketing, promotions, speaking, writing. These are all skills that you can get out of the Jaycees. And then nationally, we have corporate discounts with car rental, hotel chain discounts, office supplies at Office Max, and other digital tools. Renewal and get members. I'll also kind of highlight that too. I know that my chapter was struggling with getting people to be on our board, and so I actually came up with a prospect list of people in the community that I thought would be great board members, and I put together a really nice letter on our letterhead that we then sent to those people and said, like, hey Chris, this is your job and you're really great at it, and our chapter is really, we're needing a management development vice president, and that person does exactly what you do at your job, and I know that your company would be extremely interested to have you involved in our community organization so that they have a presence in the community doing great things. We would be honored if you would come check out our organization and potentially join our board of directors. And to receive that kind of personal ask to go join a board of directors, I know tons of banks need their employees to be on board to be a member of a board of directors, and I know that tons of professional organizations need that. So go after people and ask them to join and say, hey, like, we really need a secretary, or we really need a treasurer, and your skill set fits that mold, and we would love you to be part of our organization and to help us get on track and to be our best. Awesome. And I'll probably share the letter I put together. I'll erase the names that I had sent it to, but maybe I'll put that in our membership chat group on Facebook. And if you're not a part of that, just go find JCI USA membership chat and request to join it. And we put, sometimes we put some tips and things in there and have discussions. Okay, then again, Passport to Civic Leadership. This is such an unutilized tool of our members. It's the roadmap of our members to get involved, and they don't have to have their hand held because they literally have, if they log into their jcmember.com profile, they can go through the list of tasks in Passport to Civic Leadership and self-motivatedly get involved. And also, if they're reading through it and they don't understand anything, then that prompts them to come and talk to a board of director member. And again, they're getting involved. So I highly recommend getting your members involved in Passport to Civic Leadership. I also, as membership development director, have incentives. Our top 3 growth chapters across JCI USA will win quarterly. Third, $75, second place, $150, first place, $300. And then members who recruit 3+ young active citizens in a quarter will be entered into drawing for a $50 gift card. And then President Noel will personally send you a congratulatory note with your gift card. And this is just a little bit about the incentives just to qualify and how it works. Truly, it's just being an active member and holding yourself accountable, making sure that you, if you recruited a member, that when it gets all put into the database from your membership person or your president, that your name is put in as the recruiter so that you can be recognized as a recruiter. And again, the database, make sure that you show a member how to log into jcmember.com and activate their membership. This is where they can get involved in Passport and they can review their information and change their address and know when meetings are. This is just a great place to just put that our chapters have access to put our basic information so that we can keep our members in the loop about what they're involved in and how to continue to stay involved. So get them logged into this and make sure that their contact information is updated. And it's just this tool that's there that's really easy to use. So key takeaways: begin activating and retaining members on the first day. Orient them in groups or one-on-one. It doesn't matter, but just show them the ropes so that they know how to get involved and that they're empowered. Get to know your members on a personal level and tap into their talent. So again, making sure that your board of directors and your team is having great one-on-one conversations, even if it means once a quarter they connect with one person. That's 4 more people in a year that are connected with than that were from day one. Provide quality programming and survey your members regularly. So if you're surveying your members, you know what they want, and then you can have conversations with them to get them engaged in programming that they want to be engaged in. Again, get rid of the projects that you're doing that no one wants to do. If it's a tradition, get it onboarded with another nonprofit in town because I'm sure they would love the income potential. And then still have your members volunteer at that. The ones that it was, if you had 5 members out of 60 that loved the Easter egg hunt, but 55 don't like it, well, those 5 people then can go volunteer with the Rotary group that's putting on the Easter egg group, the hunt now. Then ask people to renew. Please just ask them. I see it too much that we're not asking, and when we do ask them, it's too late. You can't ask them this week to rejoin this quarter because they're not going to renew. Like you didn't give them enough time to think about it. And then make all members feel like they are the most important part of this organization, because they are. All of you on this phone call are the most important part of the organization because you're the ones with the ideas and are the ones taking action on the streets in your communities, making a difference. And if we didn't have you, we wouldn't be an organization. And I can't thank you enough for being involved in this organization, being leaders, renewing every year, And the greatest thing too is that you guys are amazing leaders, and you're finding the potential in members, and you're making their lives better and changing them from when before they joined. So keep up the great work. Are there any final questions for the night? I think someone's going to ask the question, but they haven't typed it all out yet. Okay. How do you join the chat group, please? Again, so if you go to Facebook and you search JCI USA membership chat, that's the group for JCI USA members, where we're able to, I'll share this information. And please email me at jwutsky@jciusa, and I will personally give you resources and information as well. Awesome. Any other questions? Again, I'm always here. Email me. Any time of the day, if I'm driving, if I'm in a meeting, I'll get back to you in the next few hours. But I'm here to support you as members in whatever goals and dreams you have in JCI USA and in your personal life, and I want to help you achieve those. If you're a state leader that's trying to figure out how to get your chapters on board, I'm here to do conference calls with your chapter presidents or your chapter membership people and brainstorming ways to make your individual situations better. I will brainstorm things to death, but I just want to help everyone be their best, and we got this, and we're going to make Jaycees. Every young person in this world, in our country, should be part of the Jaycees. Not everyone, obviously, not everyone's fit to be it, but there's a whole heck of a lot of young people out there that want to be empowered and want to better their lives. They just need to know that Jaycees exist in their community and that they can get involved. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you again for being on the webinar tonight. Hope you have a great night and a great weekend, and we will be in touch. And have a great rest of the second quarter, and enjoy your 4th of Julys, and we will see you on the next call, the next webinar in a month. So thank you again. Good night.